My name is Ben Balmaceda. I'm the voice of Kaveh in Genshin Impact, Saber in Fate Strange Fake, Hanamichi Sakuragi in The First Slam Dunk. I'm a Capricorn. My favorite color is orange. I like long walks on the beach, and you're watching Points of Experience Podcast.
Ben Balmaceda, somebody whose name has been infiltrating everything of note and notoriety within these past years. He got to teach me or tell me about so many of the great and inspiring things he was doing to kind of make his career happen in this industry. And if you're interested in voiceover, it's one of those great stories, an experience which may not be replicable for you, but just a lesson in how much you should care about what you're doing and how having a fire in your belly really can motivate you through really difficult or challenging career paths. So we talk tons about how he got started. We talk about, working in Genshin Impact, and obviously the project we're on together right now, The First Slam Dunk, and how that's in theaters. Go see it July 27th/28th, depending upon where you are or the time it is. But he is a phenomenal talent. I got to know him through him playing Neku in The World Ends With You, the anime, and he did such a great job on that. I was so impressed on the take that they did, and staying true to the source material and also inspiring a different lens of experiencing the game, because there's tons of ways of experiencing it. It's on the mobile, it's on Switch, it's on Wii, right? Or Switch or Wii, I can't remember which one it is. The mobile, Switch or Wii, DS. It's a great addition to the world of The World Ends With You, and tons of you are fans, and the anniversary of The World Ends With You is coming up in a few days as well. So we're celebrating both of those things, Ben and I. Make sure you like and subscribe, leave comments, review us, whatever it is, because we appreciate that. Let us know what's going on in your mind, what you liked about the episode and all those great things. But Ben is a truly great human being. I'm honored to share the stage with him, and I think you're going to really enjoy this episode. So stick around. Ben Balmaceda on the Points of Experience podcast. Stray hairs, please stop. Come on. Act normal for me right now. Why are you doing this? Oh gosh, Ben, this is going to stay the way it is. It's going to be like my little horn here.
I have that same thing with my hair too, so I get it. I get it.
Dude, thank you so much for coming on. This is a really, really, for a multitude of reasons, a very special episode for me, and I'm just really grateful you're coming on right now for when this is going to release. I think people are going to be pretty excited to see that we're chatting together.
Ooh, yeah. That's cool. I'm glad. I'm so happy to be here. Like I've been seeing like clips of the show every now and again, so I've just been like, damn, that looks like a lot of fun. Like especially Sungwon's episode, I'm just like, that looks like fun. So I'm super happy to be here. Really jazzed, and yeah,
man, dude. No, thank you. It's been a ride, and we've had some great guests, and now yourself included. I mean, you've been someone who I've known about, and we have kind of like, well, it's not Kevin Bacon style, because we're like first degree separation now. We have kinships of multiple kinds at this point now. We're both attached to The World Ends With You. We're both we have characters in Genshin Impact, and now we're both co-starring in the First Slam Dunk anime movie, which comes out when people are watching. This is going to be like a day or two or three from when you're listening to this.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. So this is super exciting. And it's around the same time as the Neo anniversary and the World Ends With You anniversary.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of cool things right now. This is a special episode for everybody. We're really making it worth their while to sit and listen to this.
God, that is a lot of like really exciting things happening at once. Yeah.
Yeah. So, dude, we've, like I said, we have all these connections, and I'm excited to talk about each and every one of them, but I would love to get to know about you, because you're someone who I've been seeing your name pop up, like I said, from the second I saw you in The World Ends With You is when I kind of got to, know who you were, and first of all, I thought you did a phenomenal job in that. We'll just get that out of the way. Really, as someone who is a fan of this series, and it means so much to me, and obviously being a part of it, you really knocked it out of the park, and I'm excited to talk about all that stuff.
Thank you so much.
and no, seriously, I mean that from the bottom of my heart, and we'll talk about that as we get going. But I just kept seeing your name pop up, and it was kind of like very similar to me in a way. Like during this pandemic, it's like I just kept seeing your name on things, and I'm like, and rightfully so. Everything I've seen you go in, you've really just killed, and I'm just super happy for you, and I'm glad that you're kind of getting your shot here, your moment in the light, because you really do great work and a phenomenal job. And I feel like very similar. I feel like we have a lot of similarities in that way, from when we're starting in this sector of the industry, and for people to getting to know you. Do you feel like that's kind of been you've kind of had a COVID renaissance? Is that what you feel like, where like things just super changed for you during like the 2021 time?
Oh yeah, like I think that like the pandemic was like a tragedy for a lot of us, and like it was a disaster to put it lightly. But like during that like advent of like remote recording and like studios being more open to remote talent, like I was primarily like an internet stuff voice actor, like that just did like online indie games and like smaller animations and stuff. So I had like a booth prepared already that helped me out, but I was also fortunate enough to really live with other voice actors, and one of them had a booth that was large enough to accommodate 4 people. So that led to us being a like Funimation, or I guess now Crunchyroll's first like remote Walla group. So we did basically all of the Walla and most of the bits for like every show in like 2020 or something that Crunchyroll was putting out then. And that led to us getting put in front of a lot of different directors, and they were like, wait, these guys are fun to work with. We should probably give them a little bit more love. And then it just led from one thing to another, to another, to another. And like more studios started to like hear from us and hear from me. And yeah, I just kind of now I'm like doing remote stuff for LA like almost every week now. And it's been, yeah, definitely. I feel like there has been like this subset of actors that really like got their start during the remote era and like just made like a career out of it. Like I've seen your name for the same reason. Like I've seen you around. I'm just like, dang, God, you sounded so good as Rindo, by the way, in Neo TWEWY. I loved your performance so much. It was great.
Thank you, man. That means a lot. I appreciate that.
But yeah, like that's how I feel like that's. I mean, I still did a few things here and there before, like, the remote periods, like, in the before time, the long, long ago. Mm-hmm. But, like, I think remote is when I really hit my stride. And it let me, like, show myself off to more people as a result.
Well, that's kind of brilliant what you said, is there. So from what it sounds like, you lived in like the hype house of voice actors. There's like, you know, and you guys are making content about me. No, I know that's not what you were doing, but can you please break down to me that? Like, so did you? And I would like, maybe this has to go. Maybe we have to start back a second. And how did you find the people that you're living with? Did you move from somewhere? And how did? I mean, I really want to know how you kind of seized that opportunity of being like, let's kind of become the Walla group for Funimation.
So my roommates, the great Alex Mai and Kevin D. Thelwell, shout outs to them both. I love them so much. Alex's booth is the one that we used. He built his own booth that, like, just from scratch using plants from the internet, and it was big enough to accommodate all of us. And we're just like, hey, we should pitch ourselves to studios as like a remote Walla option, because we all fit in there. So it's like, why not? What have we got to lose?
Yeah.
So we did it. CR sent us like a home recording kit. This was like when they were first trying to figure out how to do the whole remote thing.
Yeah.
And we installed it, and we did like a test run, and it worked out really well. So it's like, okay, I guess you guys can just do all our Walla. And we just did all the Walla. And it was a lot of work that needed to get done. But yeah, like that is actually how I like got in front of the director who would direct the TWEWY anime, Kyle Phillips. We actually did the Walla and the bits for that. And as we were doing it, I was like, oh, I'm a huge TWEWY fan. Like, thank you so much for letting us like be a part of this, Kyle. Like, it means a lot. And he's like, yeah, no problem. No, don't worry about it. And then he sent me the auditions for like the main cast, and I'm just like, hey, yeah, we can't get the original cast in, and you said that you were a fan, so do you want to read for Neku? And I'm just like, yes. So, like, that's how that spiraled. But yeah, like like we all met I met Alex in like a class, like a Richard Horvitz class.
Oh, no kidding.
And you know, it was good stuff. And Kevin Thelwell, like I met him in I think at AX or something. But like for whatever reason, we all three of us just like found our way into this house together, and it's just like it all just worked out.
That is, I think I mean, I don't know if that's like replicable in a certain kind of tangible way, like, hey, me and a group of people, we're gonna make a huge voiceover booth and we're gonna pitch ourselves as a Wallow group. I think you really found yourself in a very opportunistic situation to kind of make a name for yourself and to kind of get your foot into the door and for directors to know you. Like that is so brilliant. If I could, like that type of intuition, if you could translate that to different moments in time for other people, that type of innovation is what it kind of takes to break into these industries sometimes. So kudos to all of you to really like recognize that opportunity and to be able to deliver, not just have the setup, but to be like, we're good actors, and not only can we do the Wallow, but you know, you got a couple of lead roles, throw them our way, maybe it'll work out.
Yeah, exactly. And like again, like it was just Alex having the foresight to like build a big enough booth that was like comfortable for him, but also like it just so happened to fit all of us. It was a bit of a tight squeeze, but like you know, some compromises have to be made, but like just being prepared was like having that kind of preparation is what led to us like having this huge boom of just work, and like now we're doing stuff with CR almost every week or so. It's great.
Congratulations, man. Good for you. Seriously. So how did you get to or when did you move to Texas? How'd you get there? And maybe we need to go all the way back to the beginning here. So did you grow up? I saw you grew up in Chile, and then you moved to England, and then you moved somewhere else, and then you made your way to Texas?
Okay, let me give you the rundown on my lore, because it's a lot. So my parents are Chilean. Like my parents are Chilean nationals. My dad's a diplomat representing Chile. I was born in England because they were posted there during like one of their diplomatic missions. Lived there for 2 years, moved to Chile for 2 years, moved to Austria for 3 years, Spain for a year, Norway for 3 years, back to Chile for 2 years, Australia for 4 years, back to Chile for 2 years, and then Switzerland for about half a year, which then at that point I was like, I know I'm sick of this. I would just want to go to America because I feel like things are just a lot nicer there.
Yeah.
So my parents let me go. I moved out here by myself about 9 years ago. I went to college in New York, graduated. I was like, where do I go now? Like, what do I do?
Where'd you go in New York?
I went to Stony Brook University, and it's on Long Island.
Sure. Yeah.
Go Sea Wolves. But yeah, I was like, during that time in college is when I really fell in love with voice acting. Like that's when it clicked for me that it's like, oh my god, this is what I want to do with my life. Because I took a class with Brittany Lauda and Matt Shipman, two amazing actors.
Sure.
And like it was like a mock audition for like an anime, like just to give people ideas. But like I did it, and like I felt something deep inside, like a spark, and I was like, what was that? How do I do that again? So I asked Brittany, like, are you going to do any other classes? Because like I feel like I felt something, and I want more. And she's like, yeah, I'm doing like an ADR workshop in about like a month or so. And I'm like, sign me the heck up. So that class happens, I do ADR for the first time, and I hear my voice coming out of a character in an anime, and whatever that spark was, it turned into like a fire. I was like, that's it! That's what I want to do! That was it! And like, it was such an amazing feeling. And like I remember like running back to Center Station, this was in Manhattan, to Penn Station. And
Shibuya Station,
yeah, and I was just like, this is, I want to do this forever. So ever since then, I've just been like working jobs to support my voice acting, and I am on a visa here. I'm currently on an O1 visa, but like it was just like all of it was leading up to me trying to be a voice actor like full
Sure.
time. And my visa basically means that all I can do is voice act. So I've been full timing it for like 3 years now, and it's been amazing. I'm so happy, and I want to do it forever.
Well, I hope you do, because you are truly of like our contemporaries. You're one of the standouts, and I'm really excited for people to like even see the first Slam Dunk, because even just getting to hear some of that stuff like. And we'll get into that, because I just know how good you are, and I'm so happy for you. And I know it's very difficult to operate that world of having a visa and worrying about gaining citizenship. I've been a sponsor for other people, so I've went through that process of helping people get, because I had a film production when I was living in New York City, and I had people work for me, and I tried to help them get citizenship. It's it's extremely hard process. I've seen it kind of from that perspective. So I hope that you continue to keep working and that all works out.
Here's hoping.
Yeah. So I want to take it back too. So when, obviously in college, you kind of fell in love with voice acting, but before, were you playing games as a kid? Were you watching anime? Like, where did all of this, where did you even get the first thought of like, yeah, voice acting, I want to try that?
So I played a ton. Okay, I grew up playing games. Like ever since I was like 3 or 4, like Donkey Kong Country on the Super Nintendo was my first game, and ever since then I've just been like, this is my life now. But I've always been like an actor. I was acting since I was 4. Like I was. Like I just liked goofing around, and like acting is just goofing around, but with a bit more structure.
Yeah.
So I just did a ton of acting growing up, and like voice acting was just like something I kind of accidentally stumbled into. I just like doing impressions of stuff, like just doing funny voices all the time, because it was fun, and like my friends liked it, so it was just that. It's fun. That's literally it. So like, yeah, like I wanted to, voice acting was one of those things that like I could do from wherever in the world, even if like I was in Norway or in Australia. Like the internet was always there, and I could always voice act from my house. Yeah. So like that's one of the things that also pushed me in that direction, as opposed to like stage or film acting. But like I still dabble in those other two things, but not as much. But yeah, like it was just the world travelingness that really influenced me the most to get into VA, and I'm glad it did, because it's been fun.
Okay, so you're traveling a lot, you're playing video games, you're watching anime, you go to college and you're taking an acting class, you want to are you majoring in theater at the college?
No, I studied information systems, so I'm an IT nerd. I love computers, I love technology, and the realist in me was like, I should probably get like a practical degree so I can like get a desk job, so I can support myself. And my parents were like, please do that. But now, I'm making all my income through acting, so they're like, actually, you know what? You might have been onto something before. Maybe we should have just let you do that in the first place. But but yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
So that first class you did kind of changed your life in a way. It unlocked that fire in your belly. And I really we talk about on the show, if you don't have that fire in your belly, it's a really hard industry to compete in, because
absolutely
everybody wants this with everything they've got, and the people, and everybody who has that same feeling that you've had, that I've had, like some of us, we're still fighting our way to get in. So if you don't have that behind you, pushing you at every turn where you're kind of feeling down on yourself, or quote unquote rejection or whatever it might be, it's really hard to sustain. So it sounds like you found that fire, you latched onto it, and then you were living in New York. So what was the next steps? You decided you're going to move to Texas and pursue anime?
Pretty much. Like initially I moved to Texas because I Googled what's the cheapest place to live in the United States. And Texas was pretty high up there. And I'm like, well, I've got a couple of friends that are already down there. Funimation / Crunchyroll's down there. I'm like, might as well, I've got nothing to lose. I'll just set up shop there and see how it works out. I didn't like go there with the express purpose of like getting in with Funimation.
Sure.
Because, acting is like such a volatile industry. I don't want to didn't think I was owed anything because I really wanted to do this. So I was like, I'm going to approach this from a purely pragmatic, super boring standpoint that I'm not going to get into any acting thing. I'm just going to go down there to work a desk job and just figure stuff out. But within like 2 weeks of moving down there, I did already get a bit in Legend of the Galactic Heroes, and that was like the first thing I did with Crunchyroll. So it did kind of end up working out for me, but I feel like it was because Brittany was the director in that, and she loved what I did in the class, so she wanted to just give me something to get me started. So, but like, I feel like I got lucky, like, is the thing. Like,
Sure.
so that's why, like, I tell people that are interested, like, hey, like, do this, like, let the passion fuel you and, like, be stubborn about it. Like, just keep doing it and doing it and doing it. And eventually you're gonna break through, and then you're gonna start seeing results. But yeah.
No, so that my question was going to be is how did you get that kind of first opportunity? And it sounds like from having done that class, Brittany heard you and knew that you were good. What can you, from an acting perspective, what can you credit to why you were good in that class if this was kind of your first time doing it? Like what, because I remember my first time dubbing something. I was doing live dubs for a Ukrainian soap opera, and I was god awful. I was so bad. That was so bad they stopped calling. I don't know if they fired me, but they stopped calling me, which is not a good sign either. So it took me a while to learn how to do this from a technical standpoint. And for you to have been good enough in that class to the point where someone's saying, I want you to come in and read for or work on something, what can you credit the acting or the technical skill to being that good at that point in your life?
Well, first of all, live action ADR is super hard in my opinion. It feels like it's always like we're doing it wrong because it doesn't match exactly, and like that always throws me off. So like, I feel for you. That's a tough one to have as like your first thing. So,
and it wasn't good acting to begin with. So I was like having to match bad acting, which was very interesting.
Oh yeah, that's I'm so sorry you had to go through that.
But to be fair, now I think it's because I was so trying to replicate, and I'm still navigating this, and I'm curious if you do too. Like, and we'll get back to that question before I lose it. But like, sometimes I hear a reference and then I get like, oh, that's how it's supposed to sound, versus like, no. Do what you do. Just honor whatever they're asking for. And so maybe during hearing the bad soap opera acting, I was doing a big performance or something or whatever. So
yeah, I get you. Like, it's just about like, you just do the thing and whatever comes out is like how I do it.
Yeah.
But I'll do let the preview inform me. But no, going back to your question. I think growing up as an actor and doing a ton of acting just throughout my life definitely helped out a ton. Like, I had done theater classes in high school and college and all that stuff. But I think I just have a really weird, innately good sense of rhythm. I don't know where it came from. I think it's because I played a lot of rhythm games growing up, so I just kind of have that pre-installed. And I think that helped a lot with just like how ADR works, when they're just like, okay, it's 3 beeps, and on the 4th imaginary beat, that's when you go. And I'm like, got it. And it's just a rhythm thing where it's 1, 2, 3, go. And like, that's it.
I've said that before. I've said that it's like it's Dance Dance Revolution of like the karaoke when they have the karaoke bars. You're basically doing like what's it called? Guitar Hero for voice acting. That's
exactly.
What it is.
And like watching the preview, you see like the flaps are like blah 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 blah. It's like, cool. So I have to fit the line to blah 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 blah. And so it's like it's the whole thing is like a timing, just like a mini game or something. Like one of the games I love is Rhythm Heaven, and it feels a lot like that a lot of the time. So it's just rhythm, acting, background, and I did a lot of improv too. I did a fair amount of improv training, and I think that helped out, like letting me make strong decisions right out of the gate.
Sure.
And like that's another thing that I tell people, like, hey, if you really want to like practice a good skill to have in the booth, it's improv. Like, it improves your cold reading. It'll make it so your first read is usually strong as heck, so you don't have to keep going back and like redoing stuff to make it perfect. So it's Yeah, it's just all those things combined just made me pretty decent at the thing.
And having the confidence to do well. And that's why I think even like what you're saying, the improv really helps you be confident making a choice and being
exactly.
like, I have to make that choice. Whether it's good or bad, we'll find out from the reaction of the teacher or the audience. And that's why even too, like for people, like play Dungeons and Dragons and commit to a character. That's improv, you know? And eventually you can, I don't know if they teach, dude, imagine there's a class for it's like Dungeons and Dragons improv training. That should be a class.
That would be, I would take that in. I would like try to teach that class because that would be so much fun. Yeah. Absolutely.
That would be so brilliant.
But like that's another thing, like the fun. Like we have fun playing Dungeons and Dragons because like we're playing a game, we're having fun, we're enjoying ourselves, and that lends itself to like this playing pretend kind of mentality, and like that's when your acting becomes like super just natural in my opinion. And like that's me every time I'm in the booth. I'm just there to have fun. Like, I think that, like, playing a character, exploring, like, a scenario, and, like, building up, like, this character's story and everything through acting, it's just fun, man. Like, it makes me go back to, like, when I was a kid and I picked up a stick and I was like, this is a sword. Like, that's like the vibe that I have whenever I'm acting. And whenever people ask me, like, what were you thinking during that read? I'm like, huh? What do you mean? Like I was having fun. I don't know what you're talking about. So it makes me a terrible teacher because like I don't know how to explain myself. It's like I was just having fun. I was just kind of screwing around, and it sounds good.
I think it's a great point though, because so much of even the structure of this podcast to a degree, people are often like, well, what is the method I need, or who do I train with to get the secrets? But I think as children, we have access to all of those things that make great actors. Is just a pure imagination and the freedom to not worry, is this right? Is this going to get me hired? It's like, no, I'm freaking Luke Skywalker. I'm Han Solo, you know?
Yeah, so many people try to focus on like I need to make this perfect. I need to hit all these points exactly. But it's like you lose sight of the fun. And if it's not fun, then like why are you doing it, you know?
Yep.
So yeah, that is to say, like I feel like doing a lot of theater classes and like learning the method, it did pre-install all of that like finding out where the who, what, where, and why super fast, and like now I can kind of just do that really quickly. But it's all about just relying on your instincts and like what just feels good in the moment, and just like cutting loose and just letting go of yourself. And
you know, it's you just made me think of this. I recently had a callback for something, and my partner, who she's an actor, but she's a writer now, but she's trained in the same method that I did. We both did Meisner training, and I had to play a character in this callback. And he had to be very emotional. I was getting redirected to be very emotional, and like the character was going to be crying and stuff. And then she asked me, she's like, so what did you think about to cry? And I go, I didn't really think about anything. I was like, I was just playing the character. I'm like, I'm at a point right now in my career where I don't have to do like sense memory for everything. I don't have to do as ifs for every little thing. If I can commit myself to the character, I have so many different tools in my tool chest where there's not like, I have to do this to act good. It's like, sometimes it's removing all the crap and just trusting that you can believe the story like you would as a kid. That, you know, like, this is the scenario I'm in. So if I'm actually listening and I'm responding, I should feel something in some sort of way. If you have a good reader, it really helps. But, you know, generally that's kind of how it is. So I love hearing people's different approaches or different backgrounds and trainings, and it's cool to hear that, you know, you kind of were just like, you threw yourself into this, and that's kind of where I guess it almost sounds like obviously you had the training, but really just loving something so much and committing to it is what led to having memorable performances. Yeah, it's just fun. Like I keep stressing it, but it's like, for me, this is just a hobby that's kind of gone out of control. Like I just love, sometimes when I'm when I'm alone in the house, when everybody else is gone, I just like doing funny voices just out in the open, and nobody can stop me. It's great. But like, it's just that, like, it's just playing around. It's just having fun. And like, I love it so much is the thing. Like, getting to explore all these different characters that people have like trusted me with, and like,
worked with me to develop, like, it's been such a blast. And like, I keep saying it, but it's like, I really just want to do this until, like, I don't think death is going to stop me from doing it.
From the grave.
Yeah, from the grave, yeah. I'm going to, like, the Grim Reaper is going to be pushing me down into the grave, and I'm like, no, I can still do stuff. I can still do it. So.
I love this because I can see it in your enthusiasm, and it does. For most people, it really does take that enthusiasm, whether that's for the thing you're doing it for or for your love of the acting, because not everybody is a fan like we are of these things, Not everybody is a huge anime or video game fan, but they love the art, they love the play, they love the creation and the freedom and the artistic nature, and you have to love one of those things. And then one of those should lead to the love of the rest of them in some way, shape, or form. Because just because you love acting and you get booked on a video game, you can't be like, I freaking hate video games. I guess I'm going to dial this in, It's like, no, you have to care about everything you're doing. And I've seen that in your performances. And obviously, the first thing, again, was The World Ends With You, where I would love to talk about that now. Was that kind of, you were doing the Walla and you had gotten that first gig from Brittany. Was TWEWY outside of the Walla, like your first big thing that you actually had done with them?
Yes. Well, like I did get like just smaller bits here and there, and I did get a character in My Hero Academia who was like this flasher villain who like appears for one scene, is like a one scene joke, and then gets instantly taken out, and you never hear him again. But Neku was I'm pretty sure was my first lead role.
Wow.
I like, what a lead role, right? Like, yes. I grew up playing The World Ends With You on the DS. I played it during one of the most like pivotal moments. I was like in my most formative years imaginable, and that game did some serious damage to like everything in the sense that it's like, well, now I guess I have to listen to J-rock and J-rap and like hip-hop all my life, and now I love like graffiti aesthetics a ton, and now I want to like dress up like Beat all day.
That was me, man. That was me.
It was, yeah, you get it. Like it's that game was just like so important to me. And like I went through like Neku's arc. Like I was kind of a loner growing up. I didn't really want to like interact with people. I thought I was a bother, but then like, God, that game's story, it was just so good. And it like, I love it. I loved it so much. And like, I have like 3 copies of it. Like I have the DS one, the Switch version. It's on my phone.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. This makes me so happy because it's one of those things, especially when it's like, and again, the same kind of similar experience for me where Neo was my first big role, my first main video game role, and I had the same kind of similar experiences. So it's nice to know that these things, especially when a title has been kind of dormant for so long, that the people who are doing it care about it, and they have that kind of like, because I saw it with you when the animation came out, and I've kind of tried to hold the torch of TWEWY with Neo to a certain degree and be like,
you held it amazingly, by the way. You did amazing. Like I seriously, you did a fantastic job. I loved your performances, Rendo. It was so good.
Thank you. But again, I credit that to wanting to do, as I'm sure you did, like want to honor this series, which means a lot to, in comparison, probably a smaller group of people than are, usual, but it has such a dedicated diehard fan base.
Yes.
Did you feel that for yourself when you were recording? Like, were you like, I'm a fan and I gotta do this for the fans?
So, as a fan of the series, when they first announced the anime, my first thing was, please let them get the original dub cast back. And when it didn't happen, I still not sure why or whatever, but like what's done is done. As soon as they offered me the thing, I was like, I need to do everything in my power to make sure that like me and my fellow fans will be satisfied with this product, like no matter what. So like just me being a fan of the series, like loving it so much, that informed so many of my reads. And like, I was like, this is a line from the game. How did Neku say it in the game? What was Jesse David Cordy's like? How did he play this line? How did he do this? And like all of that informed all of my reads. Wow. And I was lucky enough to have one of the writers for the anime's dub, Jessica Sluiz. She was a huge fan of TWEWY as well. So like, she did her best to work in so many little references and like direct pulls from the game. And every time we got to a line that was like, hey, here's a line that's directly from the game, but we have an alt that's not from the game. And I was like, Kyle, we need to do the line from the game. No matter, like, I'm not gonna continue this session unless we do the line from the game because it is so important.
Yes.
And like, even when there wasn't a line in the J, she would just throw something in, like, during like the last fight with, oh my god, I'm blanking on his name. Sunglasses Villain Man. Is it Kitaniji? No, it's not Kitaniji, is it? From Sunglasses
Kiryu?
Dude.
Or you mean Hanakoma?
Was it Hanakoma? I think so. No. The bad guy with long hair. I think it is Kitaniji.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's the final fight with them, and Shiki does like a fusion attack, and like there's like a gap between her line and like the next line, and the writer was like, I'm gonna throw in a thanks piggy like in there. And like, you guys don't have to do it, but if you do it, you'll make everybody really happy.
Yes.
And I'm like, we need to do that line because it'll make people happy, and it made people happy.
Yes.
So, yeah, like I think being passionate about something like that, the thing that you're working on, it does so much for your acting and like for your performance, and like that's why like I've let myself enjoy so many more things. And like just explored so many more medias and stuff, and I'm watching so many more things and playing so many more games, and all of that is like letting me like bask in these worlds, and like if I happen to book like something that's in them, like that just improves my read so much more because I'm like, I'm invested. I know what I know I'm a fan, and I know what I'm looking for as a fan. So it's like, yeah, that's why. God, TWEWY was just.
Dude,
I'm just so happy that it happened.
You really did do a phenomenal job, and I wound up watching that anime because I think Neo had came out already, right? When the animation...
it was around that time.
It was around the same time. So I had my partner, she had never experienced TWEWY or anything, but she obviously knew how excited I was about doing Neo and everything. All right, yep, I broke NDA to my partner. She knew I worked on Neo, but so she was always so curious about everything, and she had started playing on the mobile version, but you know, it just was not enough time for her to catch up. So I was like, great, the animation came out, so we sat and watched it together. So she got to experience TWEWY like for the first time through the anime, and so me watching, I'm catching all of these references and everything, and there was just and even though there were certain differences, obviously, like and to their credit too, like who played Joshua?
That was
Chapin, right?
Yeah.
Like a different vocal feel than people are used to with Joshua, but still, I loved his take on it. And for me, I'm always someone who wants a little bit of difference for something that has already existed in some way. It's like I'm a huge fan of the remake of Final Fantasy VII. I'm a huge fan of things that are taken and extrapolated on and then they're enhanced, because it's like, if I want the original thing, I'll just do the original thing again.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
Like, I wanted it in some way, shape, or form, but there were so many moments that you did that were like, one line sticks out, like, dumb beat is best beat. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I loved your performance on that, and it's just like, there's so many of those just really great, like, Neku isms and his apathy for life, but then also there was a lot of playfulness that you had kind of in his, as he grows as the character, and I really liked the way that you let that arc journey, because I think it was a good way for people to experience that story, because it's not the same as the game where you're sitting down for over like 30-40 hours experiencing this game. You're watching this thing in 3 hours or 4 hours total of time with the episodes. So to get that arc in that short period of time is such a challenge, but you really did a great job. The whole cast really did a phenomenal job, and that's also kudos to the writers, the directors, everything, but I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it really made me so happy to sit there with my partner and for us to watch it and be like, see, this is what this game can do to somebody.
I like think of the anime as just like a remix. Like if we're using TWEWY's language, it's a remix. It's just a different way to experience the story and like these characters that we love so much. And like I still tell people like, hey, if you like the anime, play the game.
Yes.
It's on mobile. It's on Switch. Just go and play it. It's amazing. You won't regret it.
Yep.
And then I tell people, did you like the original game? Great. Go play Neo because it's also amazing. It's great. The characters are so great. Oh god, and the music too.
Did they have the music in your scenes while you were recording already?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, dude, that must have been like a trip, right? Hearing like calling and like just like, you know, oh man.
There were so many moments where like it hit me where it's like, I'm doing this, like I'm in this series, I'm in this world, I'm in Neku's shoes, like it's happening. Because like I think I booked like I got news that I booked it like literally like 2 or 3 weeks after I beat Neo.
Oh no, kidding.
So I was riding a TWEWY high at that point. I was listening to the soundtrack on like Spotify constantly. I was like in this like zone.
Yeah.
So it came just at like the right time for me to be like, yes, like I can't believe it.
Yeah.
But it was. Yeah, like every time I did a line from the game, like I did like a fusion attack line or something, that's when I was like, oh god, I just couldn't believe it. It was great.
Did you have a favorite moment or scene or a challenging moment, or was there just like an impactful moment that you really remembered recording that, or that you guys really worked hard on? Anything that stands out from the process?
Basically all of my interactions with Joshua on screen were great, where I had to be like, God, screw this kid so much.
I know.
And then like the finale, like the final scene where Neku confronts Joshua and all that stuff. Every single like battle scene, because the combat efforts, I was just like, I feel so cool doing them. Right? So those were all great, and getting to yell ready to die, then die, and like all that stuff. And one of my favorite lines was at the end when they're fighting, I'm pretty sure it's Kitaniji. Like Neku has like this big ball of noise, like a spike ball, and he goes, "Take your dumb game and shove it!" And like, that was so much fun to do.
Yes.
It was great. It was wonderful.
No, there's such, I mean, a lot of emotional moments really, you know, stood out for me. The will win, and you're just crying and like,
win.
you know, so really, honestly, people, if you haven't watched the animation at this point, the anime, like you have to go watch it. It's just like, there's so much content for people to enjoy if you're a fan of that series. And, good jumping point for me too, because the way you were saying about playing games too, like an experience, it's really made you want to immerse things. That was kind of the same experience for me in Genshin, and I had been playing Genshin for a while, and I had been auditioning for that game for a very long time. Many of the characters I have auditioned for, maybe including yours. You know, I've auditioned for a lot, so when I got to finally be in it, it felt like that homework of hearing the performances and hearing how good people are really paid off. And I want to talk about that for you. Like, how was it kind of, did you have any kind of similar experience? Was Genshin just like another audition, or did you have a thing in mind, or did you have a performance in mind? Because I stopped playing pretty early on, but I got really far. I was like AR-56, if that means anything to you.
Oh, yeah, it does. I do play as well.
Okay, so in Dragon Spine, I stopped playing, and I got to AR-56, which was like me. I was a hardcore addict at that point. And then I stopped playing, and then I had to watch like clips of stuff. And I got to watch some clips of your character, Kaveh, and I felt like it's such a good character. You remind me of, what's his name, from Harry Potter. You know, Kenneth Branagh's character in Harry Potter, you know, when he's like the wizard teacher, where he's like he's very theatrical, and he's very the name is escaping me.
Gilderoy Lockhart, I think it is. Yeah.
It just kind of had like a similar, like maybe it's just his look or the flair, the theatrical flair. He kind of had that for me, and I was curious. Just was like, what was everything from getting this audition to booking? Did you know about it? Did you have any inspirations, or did you just wing it and say, "Here's my best take on something," and magically you got it?
So I was aware, like I was acutely aware of Genshin, because like everybody I knew was playing it.
Yeah.
So I was going to be the grumpy one of the group and be like, I'm not a fan of gacha games. I'm not going to play this game until I voice a character in it. That's going to be my condition.
That became my condition to come back to the game.
No, yeah, it's so like. Yeah, like I had been like exposed to it so much because of my friends and like watching other people play it, and I'm like, the more I watched it, the more I was like, okay, this game is pretty cool. Like, all right, now I feel like I need to like go out of my way now to like try and get in on it somehow. And I almost broke my clause. I'm like, you know what? I might just install it and play it a bit. But like, no, I was like, you know what? No, I'll just keep at it. I'll just watch other people and be happy with that. But I was aware more or less of how everybody sounded in the game and like the general performances and everything. I had also auditions for a lot of different characters over the course of the game. And then when Kaveh showed up, I was like, oh, okay, the specs called for... They were like, think this character from a famous sitcom.
Sure.
I don't want to say what it is because I feel like those sides might be under NDA, but I was like, oh, I know this character, and that's an interesting choice.
Huh.
So I was like, I'm going to feed that into my lines and see how it works out. So I just did this thing. I just acted the way I did. And like, they called me and they were like, yeah, they love it. They want you as this character. And I'm just like, oh, okay, awesome. And then the thing is, Nazeef found out about this. He plays Alhaitham, who's Kaveh's roommate. He found out that I was playing Kaveh, and he hit me up and he's like, are you my roommate? And I'm like, Nazeef, are we roommates? Because we're really good friends.
Yeah.
So like we were both like, oh my god, we get to like do this thing together, and we get to have like this like amazing dynamic between our characters, and it was great. And like initially I was so nervous to play this character because I was aware of how huge Genshin was. Like, I'm like, this is something that's millions and millions of people are playing. It's one of the most like profitable games in history. Like, it's a huge deal.
Yeah.
And I was like, am I going to be able to do well by the fan base? Am I going to be able to like give them like what these millions of players, like what they want out of the character? Because like, he is like a character that has a cool relationship with a cool character, and like all that stuff was like weighing on me. But then when I talked to Nazeef and was like, okay, now that I know that I've got you with me in this duo, like I feel better about it.
Yeah. And I must say, you like, from what I've read and what I've seen, what I was like going through a lot of the clips just before this, because I'm not that far in the game yet. I just got to Inazuma in Genshin, so I'm trying to grind to get to Fontaine. So hopefully in the next few weeks I'll get to Kaveh. But from what I've seen in the clips and everything, unanimously people love both your performance, but both of your performances and your characters. It is like, it is without a doubt in every comment they love your character and the performance. It is, so I hope you did you feel that love when it happened?
Yeah.
Were you curious
I
and looking through the comments and like
I did. I did, like, I was like, do they like it? Did I do right? Is it too much like sitcom character? Like, what did I do? But they're like, wow, Kaveh's really funny, and I'm just like, okay, thank God. Yeah, everyone's been so nice, and like it was like I breathed like the biggest sigh of relief when people like I heard people started saying like, oh, wow, Kaveh's voice sounds good. Like I hope we find out who it is, and I'm just like, I'm right here, I'm watching. Like, there are people saying like, hey, whoever Kaveh's voice actor is, know that you're doing a great job and we're proud of you. And I'm like, I can't interact with you, but thank you so much.
Because you had something released with your voice before they announced who you were.
Yep.
Very interesting.
So,
totally different experience for me, because they put it like in the YouTube comments. Granted, I say one line in the freaking thing, so.
Yeah, but by the way, your one line sounds great. So I wanted to tell you congratulations, by the way. Like, it's awesome that you're in this too, and like it's great. Like, yeah, but you were definitely luckier than I was, because I had to sit on that for quite some time as intrigue mounted. Like, I thought they were going to announce me for Alhaitham's story trailer, because like Kaveh's heavily featured in that trailer. Yeah, like talking to the others, and it's like I felt like they were going to put my name in the credits, but it's like they didn't. So I'm just like. Yeah. Cool. But
I think they've changed their philosophy now, considering if they announced all of us at the first time. They've spared me the torture of that happening, because I had, and I'm curious for when it did happen for you when it released, because I had woke up, and I guess they released these things very either late at night or early in the morning, so I woke up to like a brrrr on my phone. Did you have a similar experience when people finally found out it was you? Because was yours a solo announcement? Was it just your character that they announced by itself?
They had announced me on the live stream with like it was me and Baiju's actors. We both got announced in the same stream. But I remember I was like, should I wake up early for the live stream? Nah, I'll just sleep and whatever happens. And I woke up to my phone exploding with notifications, and I was like, what happened? What's that? Oh, what's going on? What? And I'm just like, oh, it happened.
Yeah.
Okay. So I grabbed like the screen cap of their little graphic with my name on it. I'm like, I'm Kaveh, and it was just like the floodgates opened, and it was just, oh my god, it was great. It was wonderful.
Oh man. Did you have like a moment recording for Genshin where it was, because this has been an experience just I know from my own recording experience, that did you have a moment where it was a line tripped you up, or you didn't really understand it, or you were like, I don't know if I'm doing this the way I should do it, because we don't hear the reference when we're recording for this, which is oftentimes not the case. So it really, they do give you the freedom to a certain degree to be like, you know, embody this character and let it come out. Did you have a moment where you were like, this one's stumping me, I don't know what to do or where to go, or it required a lot of direction or anything like that?
I feel like for Kaveh, everything kind of just flowed. It was really, I don't think I had a moment where I'm like, like, I don't know, like, what the deal is here. Everything, what helped is that, like, the director was giving me, like, hey, here's what, like, he gave me the lines before and after every line, so I was like, okay, I know what the context is and everything. There were a lot of, like, Kaveh talks a lot, and he talks very heightened, and he's very proper with his diction.
Yes.
And there were so many moments where he had to say a lot of things, a lot of complex words really fast, keeping that heightened emotion. And I had so many moments where I'm like, the aesthetics of the and it's like, I need to find some way of keeping him, like, heightened, but like legible.
Yes. No,
So,
that's a real thing. And speed wise, and making sure. I mean, this game is kind of forgiving a little bit. There's certain games where like you don't have. It's got to be in a certain amount of seconds. You know what I mean? So at least this is a little bit more forgiving to a certain degree.
Yeah,
but
there were moments where like I was like, you know what? Is it okay if I slow it down just a teeny bit? And they're like, yeah, go for it. It's like, cool. All right, that is a load off my mind. But no, there were definitely a lot of moments that were the opposite, where I was like so in tune with him, where I'm like, oh my god, I get it. Like, I get it. This is like, he's talking about like, oh, this is something that artists have to face, and it really sucks. And I'm like, yeah, we do face that. Yeah, it does suck. So it's like, I connected so much with him, and like it was one of those moments where I'm like, the love of the character really helped me out so much, and like god, he's one of my favorite characters I've ever done. I'm so happy that I got to be him.
I can't, no pun intended, it had a huge impact on your life, but also a lot of people, and I know roll the sitcom. No, but it was if you had to pick. And because he's Animo, right? He's a wind.
He's a Dendro.
Dendro. Sorry, the wrong one. If you had to pick an element besides Dendro, this is for all you fans out there, okay? If you had to pick an element besides Dendro to be, what would it be?
Probably Pyro. Or Geo. One of those two. I feel like I like mountains and stuff, but people have always like I've been associated a lot with more fiery stuff. And like, I'm just like, I want to just burn stuff, yeah. But no, he's my Dendro boy. Like one of my roommate Kevin, he got me one of these visions.
That's so cool.
And I've got a bigger one that I've got on like my day-to-day backpack. But yeah, it's probably Pyro.
Yeah. What is your astrological sign? Do you know that?
I'm a Capricorn.
Capricorn. Okay, so that's an Earth sign, right? Or is that a water?
Yeah, so that's why I'm like Geo probably as well. But if magma was an element, if volcanoes were an element, I'd be a magma element.
I like that.
But no, I think it's one element at a time. There's no combinations just yet.
Not yet, but there's always room for change. I do like
Someday.
magma. I'm on the magma train because I feel like that would be me
Right?
too.
Right?
Gosh.
Or lava, I guess. But
Lava, sure.
Whatever.
Either one. Volcano. You're just a volcano.
I want to be the volcano character.
Yeah. Oh man, well that's so cool, man. I'm so happy for you with that. I mean, just experiencing from my end, I know how important this game is to a lot of people, and I know you're putting a lot of smiles on people's faces with your character. I think it was pretty monumental when he came out. It's huge, and your work is fantastic.
Thank you so much.
I would love to shift now to something that we have yet to really touch upon, and that is the thing that we're going to be sharing our appearances in, which is the first Slam Dunk, which comes out the night of the 27th in some places, but July 28th, and you play Hanamichi Sakuragi, and I play Ryota Miyagi. And for anybody who doesn't know, while in the advertising, I mean, first of all, it's a very ensemble, this movie. I mean, it's about these 5 guys on this team, but and it might be talking about Ryota's story at this point, but in the Slam Dunk series, your character is the main character.
Yep.
Like, you're the dude. You are the Slam Dunk dude. So I would love to talk about that audition to booking. Were you aware of Slam Dunk, and what was it like, kind of like getting to be able to record for such an iconic character? I mean, this series is ginormous in Japan.
Huge.
It is like,
it
is like one of the #1 things in the world in terms of people and these types of sports anime. So I would just love to know your experience with having gotten this role.
I was definitely aware of Slam Dunk before I got the sides, and when I got the sides, I looked at they had pictures of the characters, and I'm like, this is Slam Dunk. There's no, you can't tell me this isn't Slam. Like, it was all codenamed. Yeah, it was all codenamed, and I think all their names were codenamed too. They
might have been, yeah.
I think so. But I was like, no, I know who all these characters are. I know that's Sakuragi, that's Ryota, like that. Like I knew, and like I was like, oh heck yeah, like this is like, it's one of like the, like, out of the top 5 selling manga of all time, it's like #2 or something, right behind One Piece. Like, it's huge.
Yeah, it's
colossal, and like it's the reason why like Japan has a basketball scene. Like it popularized basketball in Japan.
Yep.
And it was wild, like getting that email being like, hey, you're gonna be Sakuragi, and I'm like, I'm what?
Yeah.
I'm what? But again, like for my audition, like I've always wanted to play a delinquent in something. And I've always wanted to be in a sports show in some like major capacity. And this is literally a 2-for-1 combo where I get to be the sports delinquent of all time. And like, God, so when I got that audition, I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna have fun. Like, this is, I'm gonna pretend as if I already booked it, and this is me just having fun being this character, and I'm just like, yeah, what up? Like, this is just me, and like, it was, so I don't know if that was the voice or not. It probably wasn't. They finessed in the booth. But it was just so liberating being able to just be this like this genius basketball player, and it was great. As soon as I flipped out when I found out that I booked it, I was like, this is so awesome.
And just getting to hear you from my end, it was just
I heard you too.
Good. Well, that's,
you were awesome. It was great.
Gosh, I mean, everybody is for performances. I'm so excited for people to watch this movie.
Same.
It really means like this project, and I'm curious, did you record this remotely from Texas?
Yes.
Okay.
I recorded it in my home booth. It's blurry right now, but it's right over there.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, Sakuragi is so
explosive.
Explosive. Yeah, that's a good word for it. But he's so like loud, and he like projects all the time. And I was like, I was in the middle of like a bunch of different other projects, and I'm like, I hope my voice can keep up.
Yeah.
Because he needs all of that like power to it. So I just threw myself into it. No care in the world. I warmed up as best as I could, but I was like, I need to go for it. I can't hold back for this. And by the end of recording, like you're probably going to be able to hear it when you watch the movie. Like, my voice was already shot. I was like exhausted. But it worked because in the movie, Sakuragi was just as exhausted, and
Yes.
I was like the director, Michael Sinner Nicholas. I loved working with him. By the way, he's
phenomenal.
He's so much fun.
Yeah.
Like he was like, yeah, like let's keep going. Like you've got that tired energy and it's working because like in the movie you're exhausted, you're fighting to keep on your feet, and like I added all that into my performance. So it was definitely a challenge.
Yeah.
Like because again, I'm used to playing like edgelords and like super prim and proper, like very like clean cut characters with proper diction. So I had to be like Michael kept going like you have to mess it up a little, like slur your speech a little, mumble more, like you have to be messier.
Yeah.
Because he's a delinquent, he's a no good thug. Like you have to give him that energy, and so it was a challenge for me to get into that headspace of like, yeah, you know, whatever, like that kind of thing. So, I really hope that people enjoy it because
I hope so too, because it's really, and I mean, I can just tell everybody put their heart and soul performance-wise into it. And I'm curious, was that a challenge having like just from like being the audio engineer and recording remotely and doing something that had a lot of different volumes and levels and physicalities? I mean, we're running up and down the court so much. Was that like a unique experience that you haven't experienced in that way before?
Definitely not for an anime. Like I did have to ride the gain a lot of the times, and like there were moments where it's like, okay, we'll do this loud part first, and then we'll jump into the quieter part after, and we'll manage the game from there. But it's just like having to like have all this activity while my booth is really tiny, so I didn't really have the room to like really move. Yeah. So I had to like really like be theater of the mind it and like try to squeeze as much movement as I could while I was in this cramped little booth. Yeah. But like I think it sounds good, and hopefully other people will agree with me.
I think so. Everything that I heard, I was so impressed with. And again, you know, this story, if it wasn't for, I heard this is what somebody told me in G Kids, or maybe it was G Kids. Somebody told me when I was at Anime Expo, they were like, because I was familiar with Slam Dunk, I never like was reading the manga heavily.
Manga's really good. Yeah. I highly recommend the manga.
I started reading it once all of this started to happen, and I started to learn a lot of the story and to see how this kind of ties in for anybody who has read it before. They'll see a lot of familiar things to a certain extent. But when he was creating this manga, he wanted Ryota to be the main character, but they were like, whoever I think was publishing was like, no. Right now, what's hot is like delinquents who are like whatever, and then so he created Hanamichi because that was kind of like what was the popular theme in Japan at the time. Like these type of guys, these bad boys, or like, I don't know if he's a bad boy, but he's definitely he is a bad boy to a certain degree.
He's a bad boy. He's a good guy, but a bad boy.
yes. So like that was it really is his story, and in this film, without saying any spoilers here, you do get to experience a lot of all of the characters, and we do get to see a lot of your character take center stage in a lot of moments which are people are going to relish. They're going to relish.
Like just again, I'm also not going to spoil, but like if it's definitely like a great film to jump into the series. Like it's if you've never seen Slam Dunk before, like don't worry about it. Like the movie is very self-contained and very like easy to jump in. But if you're a fan, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. It's great. It's really good.
It's one of those movies too where I was trying to communicate this with a friend. It's like, if you don't like anime or you don't like sports, it doesn't matter, because you're rooting for this team, and that camaraderie is what you, and like, these are, in my opinion, and you find this out in the manga, like, these are people that if they weren't on the same team, they would not be friends. Like, you know what I mean? Like, these are 5 different people, so I think you can find somebody, or like your personality to a certain degree in each one of the characters, and all of them fighting for this common goal, and like pushing each other to the limits. And it's just like, it's one of those movies where if you don't see it in the theaters, I think you're really gonna miss out, because it has like, I saw it we watched the sub at Anime Expo with a crowd, and it was electric. It was, you know what I mean? I was like, I can't wait to see this for the dub crux. I'd worked my ass off. I know everybody else did. Michael Sinter-Nicholas is one of the best directors, and Stephanie Shea, who also worked on it, but Michael was like, I'm not going to settle for bullshit here. Like, we're doing this right. So I'm just so stoked for people to experience it.
Dude, I just can't wait. And like touching back on the characters, like it's such a grounded story. Like once I've read the manga, I'm like, this is really like, these are dudes that like they mess up. Like they don't win every game because they're like, Sakuragi's the main character, but like he's really like, he has his flaws.
Oh yes.
And like he's learning how to play the game as the story's going, and like
he's the amateur.
He's the amateur. And like, but being an amateur like lets him think outside the box and like do things that are unconventional that can still work. And it's like, but that's why I love like that story so much, because it's not like the traditional like shonen sports anime where the main character just has like a superpower and everybody's like,
basketball dunk or something.
Like I've got, and like even like his slam dunk isn't like a thing that he always does. It's like it's something that he has to build up to is the thing. And it's like it's just so cool. Like it's such a great like franchise. I love it, and I'm so happy that we get to do this.
I know
it's really cool.
I'm really glad that like you and everybody else who's a part of it. I mean, we've got Alex Lee, Jonah Scott. It's like we've got such great, and there's so many other great people in the cast. Alan Lee. I mean, it's packed with such phenomenal actors. I'm so glad to be on this journey with you, and I can't wait for people to see it and to share the glory of Shohoku.
Let's go Shohoku,
right, with everybody. So, I'm really just happy for you and your career and everything that's been happening for you. I just getting to know you here. I know that you're this type of person who truly cares about the work, and you are that talented to where it is extremely well deserved. And I can't wait to see what else you have in store. I know, for anybody listening, I know you have the Fate movie has not come out yet, right? That you were announced in?
The Fate special has come out. It is on Crunchyroll right now. It's Fate Strange Fake Whispers of Dawn. And they did announce that we're going to get a full series of Fate Strange Fake, which will be coming out soon. I don't know when. Maybe in a year, maybe half a year. I don't know.
Heck yes.
But I'm really looking forward to that one. So if any Fate fans out there, go to Crunchyroll right now. You can watch it subbed or dubbed. I play Saber in that. I'm really excited.
Amazing, dude. I gotta watch that because I didn't even know it came out yet, because I just remember when that announcement came out a while back, right?
It was ages ago.
Yeah. So I was like, I had that like pinned in my mind, but I have to check that out. Before we get to anything else that might come up, before I get ahead of myself, I love to ask people this question, and I know we've talked a lot about this, but it doesn't have to be relevant to the industry at all. It can be if you want. I've had people do a mixture of both. But has there been an experience in your life that changed you or taught you a lesson, or it opened your eyes to a different way of thinking, or it impacted you in some way where it's just like it's the thing that comes to the top of your head, and it's like that little buzzing fly, that just always pops up all the time? Is there an experience you had that sharing with the audience it might help them, or it just might give them a perspective of something that you experienced in your life?
I think I've already talked about it, but it is taking that workshop with Brittany. And like, I took that workshop just on a gut feeling.
Yeah.
And I think that being able to act on your gut, to explore new things that you just are like, oh, this looks cool, let me give it a try, that can like do wonders for you. And like, traveling the world so much, every new country was like a new one of those where like I just like had to like categorize my whole worldview and like experience a new country, new culture, new people. And just, I think keeping an open mind and just taking risks and taking those leaps of faith when you feel in your gut like, hey, this might be fun. I think that pays out pretty well a lot of the time.
Heck yeah, no, totally. I think that your entire adolescence and your traveling has had to have informed who you are as an artist in one way, shape, or form, and it gives you perspectives unlike anything else. You get to see different the way people live in all different shapes and sizes. So that's really amazing. And obviously, to some extent, you had nothing to do with that, but to a degree, you got to experience that great thing. And I think as people have agency in their life, they should take take that agency to do that.
Exactly.
So,
like, I always tell people, like, travel.
Yeah.
Like, even if it's down the street or out of your town or maybe out of state, travel. Like, changing where you are, like, can do so much for your perspective.
To that extent, I mean, even like having lived in Manhattan, you go from one block to the next block, it's a completely different world.
Yeah.
You know, and that's to a certain degree, I think, has that influence. So that was honestly great tidbit there, and I appreciate that.
Also, traveling is good for accents, but, like, what do I know?
That too. Honestly, it is for authentic accents, you know, because I think everybody thinks they have a good British accent, and then they, you know, it's like, I don't know. It's a hodgepodge of maybe every single sector of England.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's what I think. And also keep an open mind. And like, I think Bruce Lee said it best when you just got to be water. Like, flow, like whatever you get filled into, take that shape.
Yeah.
And just be adaptive.
Yep.
Because I think that's important, especially when the times are changing the way they are now. You got to change too, in a good way. But also keep hold of yourself. It's complicated. It's a balance.
It is.
You'll figure it out.
Yeah, you'll get it, kid. You get out there and do it. Seriously, dude, thank you so much for coming on. I think you're the first guest that I own a figure of who's voiced a character of a figure.
I have that one too. The exact same one.
So I think you're the first guest that I have an actual piece of like memorabilia of somebody in your voice, which is crazy. Seriously, I've been such a fan. Thank you for coming on. Before social medias, can you please let people know where to find you, and if there's anything else you'd like to plug that you can plug, by all means, please do so.
Yes, you can find me basically everywhere at Ben B Voicing, BenBe Voicing. I'm usually most active on Twitter, but I've started streaming on Twitch a lot more with the same handle.
Heck yeah.
In terms of things to plug, go watch Fate Strange Fake Whispers of Dawn on Crunchyroll right now, and go watch the first Slam Dunk in theaters July 28th.
Heck yes.
Or night of July 27th.
Yep.
And for like a week after, I think. And yeah, that's I think that's all I have to plug at the moment.
Awesome. Dude, seriously, honestly, thank you so much for coming on. This has been long overdue. We've been talking about having you on, and I'm glad this has been like the perfect timing for everybody who's excited
Thank you so much,
about
Paul.
Hey, no, seriously, I'm a huge fan.
I'm a fan of yours too.
I hope we get to meet in person sometime pretty soon.
Yeah, I'm actually going to be moving to LA in September, so
So
I mean, it's not a secret, so
oh my gosh, I'm so excited for you. No, we definitely have to pick a date and meet up now. Seriously. Oh, heck yeah. Well, that's exciting. I'm so excited for you now, because that's a whole new world. Awesome, man.
I'm really stoked.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming on. This has been an absolute pleasure. Everybody, like he said, go watch Fate and Slam Dunk, and go follow him on social media, play Genshin Impact, and all that other great stuff.
Thank you.
Ben, thank you, truly. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
You too, man.
All right. Take care, buddy. Luna agrees. She heard how cool Ben was, and Sasuke. They both heard how cool Ben was, and they were like, we got to get in here to hear the rest of this podcast. They're starving, so this is going to be a quick one. But go see the first Slam Dunk. Go watch Fate on, whoa, what are you doing, buddy? He's crazy. He's acting wild. There's, hey. But go do those things. Go see the first Slam Dunk in theaters, July 27th, which is in like 2 days, or July 28th. And go watch the TWEWY animation, because Ben is really great as Neku in it. And I can attest, as someone who's a diehard fan, it was so cool to have him on. And he's phenomenal in Genshin Impact. Like, subscribe, do all those things. Share this with your friends, anybody who's interested in the things we've talked about or voice acting. It'd mean a lot. But have a great rest of your day, week, month, year, and we'll see you in the next one. Much love. Bye.